the so-called Democracy Summit initiated by US President Biden came to an end at sunset. However, the doubts of this meeting in the United States and the international community have increased unabated. Hypocrisy and not qualified have become the general evaluation of the conference by the media of various countries. There is a view that the United States held the so-called Democracy Summit under the banner of democracy as to reward other countries to unite against China. The so-called Democratic Summit concocted by the United States obviously runs counter to the main trends of global politics. It is totally different from the multipolarization of the international order. Is the United States eligible to sell for American democracy through the summit? The answer is of course no. Today's American democracy is morbid. Money politics, identity politics, party antagonism, political polarization, problems such as social tiering, racial conflicts, and polarization between the rich and the poor are becoming more and more serious. Congress raids, war is death, and the epidemic is out of control. Piece of facts have torn apart the fig leaf of American democracy. The status quo of its failure has long been difficult to conceal. In the context of the current world facing major changes unseen in a century, the epidemic, climate, energy, security, and other fields require more joint cooperation. The first thing the United States needs to do is to understand competition and cooperation with a healthy and rational mind. However, the United States held the so-called Democracy Summit in the name of fake democracy. Divide camps with covert thinking and colors go against the general trend of development in the world today. If the United States want to win people's heart, they should pragmatically reassess its traditional diplomatic methods, focus on cooperation rather than confrontation. The current world trend is to seek to establish an inclusive and win-win multilateral cooperation mechanism. Instead of falling back into the opposition of the Cold War era, the United States, in the name of democracy and competition, practice of besieging, yelling, engage in small circles and cutting off hoops, continue to undermine political mutual trust and respect for each other's core interests with China, should bear full responsibility for the setbacks in Sino-US and Sino-European relations. No matter how the US graces and powders itself, its true features of foreign democracy and true hegemony have long been clearly exposed to the world. The so-called Leadership Democracy Summit will only go down in history as a democratic manipulator and saboteur. Democracy is the common value of all mankind. It is the right of the people of all countries, not a pattern monopolized by the United States. Democracy is not the same. There are many ways to achieve democracy. The way to force American democracy is not only unworkable, it will also provoke contradictions and confrontations, causing endless harm.